Last week, the Scottish Government passed a Hate Crime and Public Order Act, creating an offence for behaviour that is threatening, insulting or intended to stir up hatred. The act has been controversial, with opponents claiming it threatens freedom of speech. New protected categories have been added, including transgender identity, which has caused quite a stir amidst certain women's rights organisations.
This is not a simple issue. Many women's groups across Edinburgh are trans inclusive, but the inclusion of trans identity on the bill and the exclusion of sex has caused problems for those who are already concerned about women's safety if the Scottish Government make it easier for people to self-identify.
Grassroots organisation Women Won't Weisht has been particularly outspoken about the Act, claiming it could be used to prosecute members.
I also have grave concerns, and indeed many women have grave concerns on whether it will be weaponised. Many of us have been threatened, many of us have lost opportunities purely for stating the fact that you can't change sex and that women need, in certain circumstances, single-sex spaces. And indeed, women have a right to privacy, dignity and safety.
On Saturday, Women Won't Weisht were amongst other groups attending the Let Women Speak rally. They were met by a counter-protest from Cabaret Against the Hate Speech and LGBTQ+ activists. Greens councillor Alice Mumford attended the protest in support of the trans community. She claims the women's groups weren't there for the right reasons.
The event that was being protested was ostensibly about the hate crime legislation, but actually we've seen many of these gatherings of people opposed to trans rights that will jump on whatever issue is current to talk about how essentially to oppress trans people, and that was my reading of this situation.
For McAllister, now is a crucial time to be protecting and supporting trans voices.
This is about trying to ensure that trans people in Edinburgh don't feel threatened in their own city, and we are living in a very transphobic time. We are seeing attacks on trans people. We are seeing, transphobic hate, and so I think I'm disappointed that I was the only politician there. But I think it's really important that the community, in particular, I'm cis. I think it's really important that non-trans community come out and make this statement really clearly as well.
The Scottish Government has promised women's rights groups that although sex is not included on the hate crime bill, further legislation will follow on misogyny. It is yet to see if this will be enough to satisfy. Bethany Lee, Edinburgh Napier News.